I can't really swap in the Golisopod here because the Rock Tomb just does way too much. So, but once I chip it down, it's fine. I'll try to go for a catch. It's kind of ballsy. Oh, there's no way we did it. Wait, what? You think I know the counts on this thing? No, I do not at all. Oh boy. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well, and I hope the delightful day season is treating you well too. This meta update has been decently sizable, definitely a lot of new viable picks, and today I'm going to cover my first day of battles, all 25, and I believe we went 23-2. I think I only lost 2 games. Obviously, the first couple battles, a little bit, on the weirder side of things, but that's generally to be expected in rank 1. But things definitely escalate pretty quickly from there. Face a lot of players, some I recognize by name, but definitely a lot of them have been reading the recent patch notes and have been using some of the newer stuff. So I decided to run something a little bit on the older side of things. I think it's still very, very solid. I ran a Carbink, which you've seen me in some previous videos this past month, and as well as the Golisopod this time around with Fury Cutter and then Shadow Annihilape. I didn't really have a good Shadow Annihilape that I could use until recently, so I finally decided to give it a shot, and man, can this thing put in some work, especially in this new meta, because there's a poison buff and a bug buff, and Annihilape resists both of those damage. Obviously, those Pokemon also resist the damage, the fighting damage from Annihilape in most situations. Cradily is a good example of one that doesn't, right? Because it's not actually poison typing, but it does have that poison acid move. That being said, a Annihilape with shields up is pretty nasty, and we're going to dive into it and show you why. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. Start things off as well. A big reason why I've decided to run the Carbink is because a lot of these newly buffed Pokemon are kind of weak to it. So this one's they're actually running Shadow Claw still on the Golisopod for some reason. But that being said, I have my own, and at this point too, at this health range, even my Annihilape can handle it decently well. In comes Dedenne, which is obviously one of the stronger Pokemon of this season. That being said, I was surprised actually they went Charge Attack priority against my Annihilape, but I'm gonna get the boosted damage here and then counter everything else down. We haven't seen a third yet, but yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. Yeah, Forretress all over the place as well. And Annihilape is going to do pretty well into this because they have to pretty much go Earthquake. Rock Tombs even resist it as well. Toucannon, first Toucannon I've ever faced. Like I said, this is a rank 1 battle, so some of the early battles a little bit on the funkier side of things. Frost Breath, Lapras. I think this is a 2-turn move if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. You don't see it very often. I think it is a 2-turn move though. But Golisopod going to be pretty good into this. So is the Annihilape. I just don't want the Annihilape to be matched up against the Toucannon if I can avoid it. But they're going to shield up, and I'm just going to let this go because the Annihilape should be pretty strong. And we still finish it off there, actually. Emolga. Yeah, this is going to be pretty good for my Carbink. I'm just going to let this go. Even if they have a move that takes me out somehow, I could just go straight Ice Punch into this Emolga and take it out. Alright, Toucannon, obviously not the most exciting battle, but that being said, we get a Cradily here with Acid, so we're starting to face some people that definitely have been trying some of this newer Pokemon stuff out. Cradily is not the easiest matchup because you do have the kind of shield as well, but in comes a Farfetch, which wins Charge Attack priority. Not a lot of things beat Golisopod, I think, in Charge Attack priority, but Farfetch is definitely one of them. I think I'm just going to maybe Rock through this down. I thought about swapping over, but I think this is fine. I could probably swap over after this one. Yeah, I'm going to swap over after just to get a slight lead on energy. In comes a Surfetch. So their whole team is actually pretty weak to my Annihilape, which is definitely a good sign. And this Leaf Blade is going to do a good chunk of damage though. Actually quite a bit. But I'm going to get to the Ice Punch. What's going on, Dodge? You getting camera shy? I'm not sure what he's doing here. He's looking at my arm. Anyway, Crobat. Again, definitely on the more spicier end of things, but a fantastic matchup for the Carbink, of course. This Ivysaur is actually kind of annoying because I kind of have to shield most of these attacks, but they're going to let it go. I'm just going to let this move go as well too. Between Carbink and Annihilate, there's very few things that actually beat that combination. I'm trying to think of one, but I'm kind of blanking. So yeah, not a lot. Not a lot, I think. Tapu Fini might be a decent one, I guess, but Annihilate has a decent amount of play into that too. Alright, and then try to get some moves here, and yeah, we finally do get to the Rage Fist to take it out. Alright, and Vaporeon. Okay, just because the Pokemon looks kind of wild doesn't mean that it's easy to win, because I remember this match being pretty close. In comes the Jolteon, so I'm thinking, alright, gotta be triple evolution here. They are going to shield, but I'm going to shield as well. If I get all shields down, it's actually not too bad. But they paced here pretty quickly. A little bit unfortunate. And I unfortunately don't get to another move. But in comes the Vaporeon, which is kind of okay with me. And then now I come in with Annihilate to counter all the way down. But they left with a move. So playing well, actually. And Thunderbolt just one-shotting me, which is very unfortunate. Ice Fang Drapion though is definitely a change of pace. Poisoning would have made things a little bit harder, but I also made a mistake here. I should have just gone double Power Gem, but luckily I was able to Rock Throw down. So double Power Gem would have been the better play. But we do go 5-0, which thankfully, like I said, I almost lost to that Vaporeon lead, which you don't see very often. But yeah, I think they played it pretty well given the Pokemon they had. They were like combo playing, swapping out, leaving with energy, all this, like all the kind of stuff. So definitely someone with some potential there too. All right, against the Dedenne, this matchup is not terrible, but they essentially shield and then still give up switch advantage, which works out very, very well for me. I'm just going to boost myself up here ASAP, just so I could counter it down a little bit sooner. And then we have another Rage Fist, which the Dedenne pretty much has to shield if they want to survive this. And they just quit out. Not really sure what they have in the back, but we'll take it. And in comes a Dusclops. Again, one of those neutral matchups that Carbink is just able to outbulk. So, and as long as I avoid my Annihilate onto this, I'm feeling pretty good about this matchup. So we'll see what happens. And then they swap out. And again, we just come in Annihilate right away. I think most people typically go Rock Tomb here. So I'm just going to let it go. I think I should be able to survive an Earthquake, but it would definitely put me quite low. And then they don't optimize. So I'm just going to shield up just so I could get my damage through. Kind of concerned though. They're just shielding up a lot, and this makes sense. So Bastion is definitely a core breaker for the Golisopod and the Carbink, but I just need to bring it low enough so that my Carbink can handle it. So I'm going to shield up, and once I drop this next Aqua Jet, we should be in a pretty good position. They come in Dusclops, not going to be enough. So tough matchup in the back end, but we found a way. All right, Paldean Tauros, the water variant. I'm not sure what the specific name is. Paldean Tauros. Maybe water form? I'm not sure. But anyway, it is a water form. It's going to be the same typing as Poliwrath, which is obviously pretty strong. Going to try to flip switch here, which we're able to, which is always nice. And then in comes a Heliolisk. I probably could have thrown a few more Fury Cutters, but I honestly was expecting the Tauros to come back in. And I was fantastic into Heliolisk as well, but I just want to have some type of utility for this Carbink, which is why I'm just going to just soak up all this energy and then not shield it. Just need to spend my shield on the net. I think I got denied a counter there, unfortunately, but wasn't really sure if I should shield the Parabolic Charge or the Aqua Jet from Tauros, just because Heliolisk's attack is also pretty high, but we're able to finish both of them off with the Annihilate in the back. Obstagoon. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that most of my teams are usually very, very weak to Obstagoon, but funny enough, change of pace for once, we have triple strong into Obstagoon, so this is going to be a very good matchup for me just in general. And then in comes a Scrafty, which is also something that I was also kind of weak to at times. So they brought both, but my whole team is very, very strong into both of these, and they go Power Punch too, which is also really, really good. And then they shield, so I'm just going to counter down. and then in comes Azumarill. And this is actually not too bad. Annihilate with 2 shields will just be able to beat Azumarill in general, but especially if I have 2 shield advantage, there's just no way I lose this matchup. But yeah, the counter damage and the Rage Fist damage tends to add up quite a bit. So I think this cat wants to leave, which we're going to let him if he wants to hop off. Yeah, he is going to hop off out of here. All right, that's my significant other's cat. In case you don't recognize him, because he probably isn't in as many of my videos, but he's here. All right, the Dedenne Parabolic Charge going to be thrown. Dusclops in the back is pretty annoying for my team, but chipping it down is going to be helpful. And then, you know, Golisopod has some play into it, right? Aqua Jet is still a decent amount of damage. Just need to hopefully survive this and get off a move. Okay. I guess I go for the counter down here. Unfortunately, don't get it all the way, but I guess I would have had to spend something anyway. And then in comes a Araquanid. So fairly strong, like almost triple strong into the Annihilate. Definitely someone that's using some newer stuff. I do call the Bubble Beam, which is nice. But there's going to be another Bubble Beam in all likelihood, and I kind of had to shield at this point too. Great catch onto Dedenne, actually, but let's see if we can do anything here. And then I throw another Rage Fist, they shield, almost take it out. Not quite. Oh, but there's just... Oh, and I win it. Wow, I thought I lost that one, but that was stupid close in the end. Calling the Bubble Beam bait was definitely important there. Because this Water Pulse, we just lose that, right? Obviously. Forretress, I usually just chip it a bit before swapping the Golisopod, because they are gonna, you know, it's kind of hard to take out. Your Aqua Jet doesn't do enough, and Rock Tomb just so much damage to the Golisopod. But they swapped out first, which is fine with me. And they actually shield up as well, too, which is also very, very good. Because, oh, they gave a switch advantage. So they give up switch advantage, which is also quite nice. I don't know what they have in the back, but because they swapped out right away, it makes me think that they're pretty strong into the Carbink. So I'm going to tank this move, then swap over. And ends up being a Jellicent. So, yeah, they were kind of strong into it, but this is much worse for my Annihilate. That being said, we're just going to, because we have a shield advantage, we're going to try to muscle through this and just dump both shields. Obviously, they're going to just throw straight Surf, but I can't really easily rock throw this down, so I want to get this Rage Fist off, which I do. Very nice. And then we're triple boosted? Yeah, double boosted, triple boosted, I don't know. But able to counter down. Boosted Annihilate is no joke. Alright, in comes a Decidueye, which is a little bit problematic for my team. My whole team's kind of weak to this. Honestly, the Carbink is probably not too bad, and I probably should have just stayed in Carbink. But I get to 2 moves, so maybe that's worth it. We got both shields. This is not too bad for me. Let's see what they have in the back, but I avoided the Decidueye on my Annihilate, which is always good. That's a lot of damage, though. And then in comes a Superior. All right, I think this is... Oh, I remember this game. I think they just, like, lagged a bit. Yeah, unfortunately, they lagged a bit. Probably would have been a little bit closer of a game if they didn't lag there, but I didn't really realize it until it was too late. Still was slightly more in my favor because I still had a shield remaining. I was going to shield the Aerials, obviously, and then maybe could even let the Aerials go, actually, now that I think about it, and then save it for the Moonblast. I don't know. Make a crazy catch with an Earthquake onto the Golisopod. I didn't even know the counts on that one, but I think I just went with whatever. Went by feel right there. Parabolic Charge is going to take me out, but that's okay. We have the Dedenne here against the Carbink, which is much better. And then I could always have the Forretress on top of my Annihilate later. Shield advantage Annihilate's usually pretty good. At the very minimum, you want to have at least 1 shield remaining, right? Even if you don't have a shield advantage. We get the full countdown, which is nice. And then in comes the Marowak, Shadow Marowak. They go for a no shield, which is pretty smart. But at the end of the day, my counter damage is just way too much. So even if they... You know, even if I didn't go Ice Punch there and they no-shielded it, it's just still pretty in my favor. This one's a slightly harder matchup because the Feraligatr is decent into the Annihilate as well. But they come in with a Typhlosion, which is kind of interesting. I could have flipped that switch advantage, but I decided not to. I decided to actually go for display instead because down a shield, I'm not really going to do great into the Feraligatr. So... but because I had a slight energy lead, I was able to boost my counter damage a little bit sooner. And then in comes a Meganium. Don't see this very often, but we get the full countdown, which is nice. Yeah, Meganium used to be one of my favorites, especially if you remember my old Skarmory Double Grass days, but it just kind of fallen off a bit. It's not like necessarily, it didn't get nerfed, right? It's just not as strong as it used to be. All right, Claydol is pretty bad for me. It's very, very bad. We're going for the Moonblast, so it's going to do a little bit more damage. Not enough to take out the Dedenne, but at least put it quite low in health range. And then in comes my Annihilate. This is likely going to be a Rock Tomb, but I kind of have to shield everything at this point. So it's not great for me. Oh, and a really great catch onto Fur. Yeah, I do remember this play. Yeah, really, really well played by my opponent here. Honestly, even if I went Ice Punch there, I don't know if it changes too much. It probably does, actually, because I still have a shield remaining. Yeah, but at this point, it's just way too tough. I think if they didn't make that catch, there was definitely a slight chance. But at the same time, too, I just didn't want to get debuffed again. So we do take our first loss on the day. But like I said, definitely facing some tougher opponents that know what they're doing. We're at rank 4 right now. Talonflame's going to be a fantastic lead for me. I'm going to let the Scorching Sand go. And then I'm just going to throw the Ice Punch right away. And they end up shielding. So I'm just going to match shields. Probably a Fire Punch. They actually went Scorching Sand, though. So that's fine. I'm going to throw a Rage Fist here. Maybe I get to one against the Talonflame. Yeah, I do. That's really nice chip damage. Obviously, Carbink's not going to struggle into this much, but whittling it down at any way, shape, or form is always nice. And then we pretty much just RPS them, unfortunately, for them. So, yeah, perfect counters lined up all the way throughout. Sometimes that happens, you know, but I'll take it. That being said, yeah, this is really tough for them. I mean, even if they take me out here, I just rock throw it down, and I have way too much energy for them to deal with. I survive Earth Power at this range too, so that's always helpful. All right, we do take out that Talonflame team. Azumarill, not the best answers in the back, right? Because it does resist literally everything that Golisopod has, and Annihilate's not amazing into it. Like, you can't really swap into it, right? Unless they're locked in and you're committing 2 shields. So what I like to do there is just chip it a bit, and then come in with the Golisopod where it's more easier to manage. And now I could get both shields off this Typhlosion, or Flip Switch advantage. Both are fine. I do force them to throw their energy, and that's fine too, because again, I don't really want to go down shields with my Annihilate. This is going to hurt a lot, though. It's going to do quite a bit of damage. But we are able to take out this Azumarill, or almost. Oh, in comes the Talonflame. Oh, they went Brave Bird. Yeah, I do remember this game. Yeah, so they went Brave Bird for some reason. I think they could have just gone Fly there, because there's no way I don't shield that, right? They go Play Rough here, and unfortunately, we do get taken out by the bubble. So we do get our second loss there. But that being said, I'm not sure if I could have done anything differently there. It was slightly tougher of a situation. Maybe I could have thrown more. It doesn't matter if I threw more counter damage, right? Because Zoomer had a move ready. They went Play Rough even on top of that. Kind of wild. Maybe I just took too much damage on the Carbink at some point. I don't know, because it was Incinerate that landed on the Carbink when it didn't swap out right away. Either way, well played by my opponent. Araquanid lead, obviously fantastic for the Carbink. I'm going to be able to catch a move here. And then in comes their Araquanid. I am able to just really chip it down with the Rage Fist. And yeah, they are caught in a tough position. And at this point in time, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to overfarm as much as I can. They actually went Bubble Beam. But I don't think it's going to help them too much, because even when debuffed, it's not going to really do too much. And then we get to the next Aqua Jet. And then now I just fast attack down. And yeah, able to finish it off. Fear Cutter, Bug Bite, both that one-turn fast attacks, actually, with Bug, which you don't see super often, but... Alright, Tentacruel, Shadow Tentacruel, not the best. They actually swap in Lapras to catch a Power Gem, which is kind of crazy to me, but I'll take it. This is just going to be a Sparkling Aria, so not too bad. I'm going to overfarm a bit, and then now throw the Executor, because I know the Tentacruel is going to be kind of annoying to take out later. They actually have a Furret in the back. I might actually swap out here. Let's see. No? Okay. I do throw this, and then I come in with the Carbink. So, the whole point here is that I need to just muscle through with Annihilate. If I come in the Carbink, I force them to come in Tentacruel. And now, I can just shield up my Annihilate and take this thing out. Because they don't have time, right? They just dumped all their energy onto the Carbink. And they shield. Perfect for me. Because now I can really counter them down. I do get debuffed again, but it's because I buffed earlier. It's just the same, and Shadow Nihilip just hits really hard. I do think Shadow Nihilip has a pretty strong spot in this current Great Leaf meta, which is why I decided to try it on day number 1, and yeah, I think it's got a really strong value, because all the bug fast attack, all the poison fast attacks, really good for that Shadow Nihilip, obviously. Alright, Corviknight, this matchup is a little bit worse, honestly, for the Golisopod. I'm actually going to come in with Carbink just to absorb all this energy because I'm in a bad matchup anyway, and I don't have too much use for the Carbink. So Carbink did very little in this game, but I drew all the energy away, and that's what's most important. In comes a Golisopod. It is running Fury Cutter, so going to be definitely a little bit easier for me to deal with. And Aqua Jet, I don't think it even takes me out too, and the Resistant Fury Cutter definitely helps quite a bit. Oh, and we get the full counter down there too. So, I believe, did we go 4-1? Yeah, we went 4-1 because we lost one in that one. So, I believe this is my final set, if I'm not mistaken. We do have the Dedenne, and in comes a Dusclops. Dusclops already is pretty annoying for me to deal with. So, again, I just need to chip this down and then come in Golisopod to do some damage to it. Alright, in comes Golisopod. I'm going to overfarm here a bit just because my guess is they probably swap. Actually, no, they didn't swap. Okay, that's good. If I take out the Dusclops, even better, because I can't really counter down that thing, right? And we get the Aqua Jet off on Dedenne. They don't shield, which is also good, because I feel like that does a bit more damage than Power Gem, even. They're going to boost their defense, obviously. I'm going to wait out the timer, because our timers are misaligned. Now my timer is up, which is good. I should be able to counter this down. Yeah, so I just leave with the move. Oh, and then, yeah, they have a Diggersby in the back. So, kind of a tough one. I'm actually surprised they didn't come in Diggersby into my Carbink, but, I mean, they would have been RPS either way, but yeah. Made a slight error here. I thought Parabolic Charge was 6656, but I forgot they changed the energy on it, so it's actually straight 5s. Should have thrown that Power Gem earlier. Then they wouldn't have been 2-stage buffed before I threw that move. Make another mistake. I remember this very clearly. I let them farm me down with the Samurott. That's a lot of energy from a Samurott, and I choose to let it go. In comes the Mega Horn, and then I couldn't even get to the move, so I come in Annihilate. Really slow on the swaps here, but we at least have a positive matchup, so there's that. That is good for me, and now I'm going to shield up a potential Scorching Sand. Ends up being Fire Punch, which is not too bad because I'm not debuffed at least. I still survive a Scorching Sand as well, which is helpful. Should be able to get the full counter down after this. Yep. And then we still win it. So at least 2, maybe 3 misplays in that game, actually. But we found a way. All right, against a Forretress, especially one that stays in, right? This is kind of how I do it. They actually went Rock Tomb, which is kind of weird. They have to go Earthquake there. But anyway, I chip them down to the point where the Aqua Jet is enough. Great catch, actually, onto Jellicent. Luckily, this is the move I was going to throw anyway, and luckily I draw it out of the way, because I do need to draw out the Jellicent to have any chance here. But, that being said, yeah, they're going to hit me with the Shadow Ball. I just need to take this thing out as soon as I can. I'm going to throw the Surf, and then we're going to throw the Power Gem. Forretress is pretty low on health at this point. I believe it's just going to be a Rock Tomb, so I'm going to let it go. See what happens here. Oh, okay, yeah. And they have a Skeldurge. I think I actually lose 3 games today. Yeah, I don't think it was... Was it 2? I don't know. I posted a graphic earlier in this video, but I don't see it yet because I haven't done the editing process of it. So maybe I did. Did I win this game? Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, because they just left a Charge Deck. I don't really know why they did all this, because they went Charge Deck priority anyway. So I guess I lost 3 games on the day, not 2. So I misspoke earlier, but you already know that, because you've seen the graphic. I haven't put it in yet. Alright. Yeah, this is a slightly tougher situation to be in, but it is what it is. I'm going to throw on Charge Deck priority, and I mean, this is a matchup that Diggersby can never win, so I personally don't think it's worth ever shielding even Diggersby, but that's just me. Alright, we get to 2 moves here, which is quite nice, because Ice Punch us even more to the Driplim, and Driplim is going to throw Icy Wind, and then we're in an okay position right here. It's not great, but could be worse. But they're going to swap out. All right, Unova Stunfisk, really tough lead. Is it winnable? Well, let's see. All right, they're going to get to the discharge first. Their pacing is just going to be slightly ahead of mine because we get to move at the same time, but I had to swap in. They don't shield, though, which is actually really curious for me. But because they don't shield, I actually threw the wrong move here. I should have thrown Exorcer. Yeah, I just like had a brain fart moment. But able to counter down, and they just quit out the match somehow. So we do go 4-1 in this final set, and there you have it. 22-3 on the day. Obviously, some of those battles, a little bit kind of freebies, right? But definitely faced a lot of talented players after pretty much that first set of battles. And as you can see, this team has a lot of play in this current meta. So give it a shot at yourself. Shadow Nihilip is still one of the best Pokemon, in my opinion, in Great League. And I think it just looks even better in this current meta. So yeah, I know they have a bunch of new shiny toys, right? You know, people using Scizor and people using the Fury Cutters, the Cradily, all this stuff, Dragalge even. But just because it's new doesn't necessarily make it better. Metang, man, that thing's super overrated. But that being said, I do have a Metang video coming for you all tomorrow. It's actually not my footage. It's someone submitted to me. But I believe they didn't drop a single game. So I haven't seen that footage myself, so I'm very excited to see that. But anyway, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post my next video, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.